Okay, welcome everyone to a very, very interesting and special new moon today. I decided to do this session today, kind of after we did the New Year's program. So I know that some of you were in my New Year's program. There was like so much to process and so much to go through, and I realized that it will actually be really, really beneficial to kind of keep, I want to say, riding on this wave of reconnecting with the universal energies and seeing how they can manifest in our life. And this new moon in Capricorn is the first new moon of the year, not just of any year. You may have heard that this year is a numerology number one year, which means it's the beginning of a long-term cycle. So today we can start envisioning beyond the kind of just next month or just this year. We can even look into a decade or a 9 year cycle and see, okay, what is my long-term vision? If you don't have a long-term vision, don't worry. We're going to go into a little bit of journaling today. I decided to allow myself and all of us to play with the process today. So many of you know me as a neurographica teacher. And yes, I will continue teaching neurographica, but I also am more actively, ever since last year, kind of experimenting. And I want to invite us all into experimenting today, where we are going into a process that, of course, has elements of neurographica, obviously, because this is like kind of the base that I'm working with. But also, we're going to go into spaces and into parts of the process that are additional, I'm going to say. And I just want to invite us again into the beginner's mind to, really kind of feel into what does this process that we're going into today bring up inside you. I actually put the class today at the time that it is now. Now it's 1:08. Interesting. Um, the new moon is going to be during our life session. So well, it's like, I think 1:52 or something like that is exact. For me, it's not really about the exact moment and, we have to do something at the exact moment. It is, of course, a continuum, time in my perspective does not go this like very straight line, but it always goes in waves, in movement, in like organic movement. And this is why I love to work with the lines and the work that we do in this neuro art process. Um, So why I chose to do this now, actually during the new moon, is because we have a moment before the actual new moon that is the perfect moment of digging into the things that are still stuck and that might want to be released. So we're going to go into this process first, into kind of the pieces that hold us back. And often, in my perspective, those are inner things. So it's even if we, um, kind of see, oh, there's like outer circumstances that keep me back from doing whatever I want to do, like living my dream, doing my perfect work, um, doing the big things that I'm here to do. There are always like little inner pieces that we can, of course, work on. We're all humans, we all have free will, we all have inner power. So for me, this is really about finding our inner power. And so we're going to start with that. And before we start, I actually want to kind of preface with if you find some things and you're like, oh no, there's like so much work still to be done, I'm going to miss out. It's not about that. You are in the perfect moment. You are here for a reason. You are in your process and in your own timeline. And for me, it's always just about becoming aware of it. This is what we're doing with the drawing, with the art. We're becoming aware of the pieces where we can see like, oh, okay, there's something that keeps showing up, for example, like little patterns that we all carry through life, and it's like something that we share with everyone in the world. Um, and the opportunity is once we become aware to kind of start the process of letting go, of releasing the things that we don't want, of changing whatever we want to change. So it's not about we have to be perfect. We can't carry any baggage. We all carry baggage. So that's just a normal thing. Just normalizing that. And then from there, we're actually going to kind of draw a little bit. So we're going to do some writing, then we're going to do some drawing, then we're going to go again into a visioning. So I actually decided to kind of break up the drawing process because of the structure that we have like the 1 hour before the new moon, and then we have the 1 hour after the new moon, where we can really look into, okay, what are we going to do with this now, with this opportunity? And if anybody is into astrology, I'm not going to speak about all the special aspects and all the stuff that's happening today, but if you want to know, just look up online, find an astrologer. I'm sure there's like someone on YouTube talking about that, but there's like a lot happening, and it's all positive, which is really, really cool. So there are opportunities and there are support systems for us. Now, the one thing that I wanted to talk about with Capricorn in particular, because today is the Capricorn new moon, is the just archetype of Capricorn. Capricorn is, I like to call it, the go-getter. Capricorn is the sign that can really help us make the commitments that we need to make. So it's not about, visioning and then sitting in our like ideas and stuff. No, it's really about kind of like, okay, what are we going to do? What's the plan? What is the next step? And I always feel that it can be really invigorating to tap into this energy, especially in the beginning of the year when kind of like we've crossed the threshold, but we may not exactly know where we're going yet. I mean, this is definitely how I feel. I feel that there's moving and there's change going to be happening, but I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. And it's been really, really interesting to sit in that. Now with Capricorn, there is this switch in energy in a way where we can start to focus. And, again, we don't need the perfect plan yet. It's really not about that. Well, we can start to focus on what are the things that will actually support me. And this is like the other piece that we're going to look into. So I hope that I'm making sense for everyone. But we will just start. I'm gonna say, okay. I want to start with a short grounding because I always need that, and I feel that it's just beneficial for everyone. So I invite you into just taking a few deep breaths with like all the stuff that may happen in your mind, just dropping into your body for a moment. If it feels good, you can close your eyes. I invite you to place your feet on the ground and really for a moment feel the feet feel the ground under you. I like to kind of like push my feet into the ground sometimes, especially when I don't feel grounded. And this is kind of like okay, connecting to the ground and feeling where your body meets the chair, feeling your seat, feeling the heaviness of your body. You can allow your hands to just go wherever they feel comfortable. And we're just going to start with taking a few deep breaths. Reconnecting to the body. If there's anything that feels like wants to be released already, since we are in the window of release, I invite you to use your breath, use your voice even, sounding, sighing, yawning, whatever it is for you. This is the moment to make space. Make space for what is to come later. And the more we can make space right now, the more we can flow with it later. The less we have to fight against things, the less we have to wiggle around obstacles. I really kind of imagine it as this free path. Like we can imagine a pathway and it is just free and open. And it might not be easy. It may go uphill, but there's no obstacles in it. And just allowing yourself to feel into that. What if path was actually open, what would that feel like in your body? And breathing into that and creating space. And I invite you to check in with your body for a moment, just sitting with whatever wants your attention right now. Breathing into it. There's no need to focus on changing or making it better. It's really just an acknowledging of where you are right now. And maybe your hands want to go somewhere on your body. Mine are going to my heart and to my belly. Allow them to go wherever feels comfortable right now, wherever you feel held and supported. And then I invite you to check in with your emotions. Where are you emotionally right now? What is happening inside of you? And if it feels good, I invite you to bring a smile to your face and smiling at yourself, embracing whatever is present right now. Again, there's no need to change it, no need to adapt or adjust. Just being with whatever shows up right now. And maybe your body wants to move slightly, maybe you want to rock or sway, just allowing yourself to settle into the moment. And then checking in with your mind. And with the mind, I invite you to let go of anything that happened before this moment, any stories, any challenges, any issues of today, anything that happened. Taking a few deep breaths to allow it to settle, allowing your mind to become more spacious, allowing there to be an opening where the new can enter and where the old can just flow out simply and easily whenever it's ready, without us having to do anything, without us having to resolve anything. I like to imagine literally a kind of little hole in my head where my old thoughts can just pour out and flow down, and then they just recycle into the earth. And again, taking a deep breath there. And then I invite you to bring your hands together in front of your chest and starting with a moment of gratitude for yourself, for showing up in this moment, for stepping on, embarking onto this journey, wherever this may take you. This is really just about the journey, about taking the next step, about the readiness of getting into action and into movement with the next wave. So thank you for being here. And then I invite you to rub your hands together, bringing the warmth, the energy, the movement, the flow into your hands, and placing them over your eyes for a moment. Breathing with it, feeling this energy entering your head, creating the opening, connecting with your third eye, with your physical eyes. Ooh. And imagine that there's a connection between your hands, your heart, your eyes, your third eye, so that your vision can flow through you into your heart and into your hands and out into the world. That you can step into the actions that will bring you forward on your unique path and help you climb your personal mountain, as we are working with the mountain goat today. Just taking a deep breath there, and then I invite you to very gently wake yourself back up. You can just push your hands over your eyes for a moment. Start rubbing your face, maybe allowing the hands to go over your head to your neck or whatever they feel good. Capricorn's actually connected to the neck, so giving yourself a little neck massage might be a good thing to do, or giving yourself a hug, or maybe stretching, whatever feels good. And for me, my ancestors are speaking to me. I've got my picture moving here. I'll leave it like this today. Okay, so what I want to invite us first is a little journaling exercise. And the purpose of this is to activate and to see what needs to be flushed out in a way before we set intentions. I did prepare two questions and I typed them out before. So I'm going to copy those into the chat so that everybody who's here live will see it in the chat. Anyone who is watching this as a recording, I will post it, I guess, like under the video or something. Okay, so the two questions are, what do I feel stuck with? So this is really about kind of seeing, it can be outer circumstances, it can be something inside of you, something where you feel like this is something that I want to like bust through, but I feel stuck. And just feeling into it, you can journal however you want. You can do keywords, you can do free flow writing. We're going to give this 5 minutes. So we're going to give this a little bit longer than I sometimes do. And then the other one is, what am I holding on to? In my perspective, there is change happening right now, coming in the world, and change is always difficult, and we may hold on to things, to circumstances, to things that we're actually outgrowing, to things that we know we need to let go of, but it's hard. So I want to invite us to really take a kind of good, honest look at ourselves and at the things that we feel stuck with and the things that we are actively holding on to. And we're going to start with that, and then we're going to go into the drawing with that. Okay, so I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And whenever you're ready, you can start. Timer. Okay, so we'll go with that. More stuff's falling behind me. Okay. All right. I'm having like reactions in my field here. Good. Okay. So now hopefully you did look into some of those pieces for yourself. Now we're going to start the drawing with a piece that reflects on that and where we can feel into that. And before we do that, I invite you to feel yourself again with whatever you wrote down right now. How do you feel about that? How does that resonate in your body? Like I felt while I was writing, my shoulders went like up like this. I was like, kind of a little bit tense. So maybe you have reactions like that. I invite you to just take a breather. We are here to see the things and then to find ways to release them and let them go whenever we're ready. Okay, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna switch my camera. Hello? Okay, it does it. Good. Okay, so here we go. Um, so we will today kind of I want to say separate the picture into three. So we have kind of three thirds. And I'm just kind of, feeling into that. It doesn't have to be exact. We don't have to like draw lines or fold the picture. It's just like more or less thirds in the picture that we can work with. If you are working on bigger paper, great. I am working on like a small sheet of paper because that fits into the camera. So we'll make it work. And this, as I said, it's all about the process. It's not about like making the greatest picture that you want to put on your wall. So first, we're going to look at the pieces that we feel kind of stuck in. What are the things that you really would love to change for yourself, that you would like to get unstuck with, get how would I say, unattached from, maybe that you would like to break open. So we're going to actually build, I'm going to call it a brick wall. So in the left part of the picture, we're going to start on the left. I'm just going to make little bricks and name these pieces. And we're going to make them one by one on top of each other. They can have different sizes. Some might be bigger, some might be smaller, but they are all kind of like bricks like this, building a little wall. And I just want to kind of allow us to really see that we are building walls for ourselves sometimes. And as I said, name the things. Hmm. And this, of course, is, very personal for you. So we're just going to take a few minutes for doing that so that you can find what your wall is made out of. And there might be some that don't get a name. They can also overlap. They can have different kind of sizes and pieces. There might be gaps in between, whatever it is. Just, building your little wall there and asking yourself, what are the things that I currently feel stuck in or feel attached to that I would love to change? Okay, and as I said, if you don't have a perfect wall, that's totally fine. I'm gonna add one more up here that I don't know what it is, but that's okay. Ooh, okay. So now, as I said, our like the idea is that those are the things that we want to change. Well, those are the things that may keep us back from doing the things that we really want to do, having the impact that we really want to have. And this can, of course, be connected to the Capricorn things and themes, can be related to your work. It doesn't have to, though. It can also just be your everyday life. Now we're going to visually work with that and visually change it. So we're going to start with lines from the edges of those and moving the lines this way. So they're going to be short lines. And I just want to share for a moment about the lines that I invite into the space today. Like when you remember the little visualization that I talked about, allowing the energy to move through your head into your heart and then out of your hand. Imagine that and see, where does it go? How does it go? Imagine there's a wave of energy inside of you that washes it away, that moves through it, that busts the things that you don't want to hold on to anymore. So really kind of feeling into that and, allowing this to look whatever it looks like. I'm going to start from kind of like a little bit on the edge here. Actually, I wonder if we should go all the way. No, we're going to do just the third. We're going to leave this space open and we're just going to do from like the kind of middle of the page, maybe, let's say. And it might feel like the line is unattached. And I invite you to just feel into that. Now, what if you start a line, a wave that is starting from kind of inside of you, from a place that is not yet defined, and just allowing it to be a wave. It's kind of interesting to start from just the middle, from this place of nowhere. And so what we want to do is we want to create change in these blocks, in these visual and physical blocks. And really just allowing energy to flow through it. Because this is what's needed for change to happen. We need to bring energy into it. And we're moving it this way out of the picture. Okay, so whenever you feel like you have enough lines, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to create the change. We're going to change the image. And I'm going to go and demonstrate this on another piece of paper just for anyone who's completely new, anybody who's worked with me before. Now we'll go into rounding. Let's see. But okay, I'm going to just say I have a box here, I have a line here, and then maybe I have another line here. So what I invite us into is looking at the areas where lines touch, where the line that I was drawing touches the edge of my kind of block here. And here is where we have areas where there's little crosses. And what I like to invite us into is moving into the cross and then out of it in a flowy way, creating a connection instead of this harsh corner that we see. So going into this here, I like to move over the same line again and then just kind of go into a curve. What I want to invite us into is look into all the little spaces that appear in between lines and make those round spaces. So here, for example, when I had a little kind of corner piece, I make this into a round piece and I just color in all the corners. Or here I have this kind of half circle and I'm going to make this into a bean-like shape, I guess. So this is how I like to work with it, really going into the spaces so that we end up with an imagery that is connected and softened. While you do that, I invite you to check in with yourself. Feel into these spaces, into these patterns that you have brought in your blocks here, especially if you named them. It's really, really easy to kind of feel into that because you can read the name and you can kind of just check in with yourself and see what happens inside of you as you are moving through this. And so we're just gonna give this, I'm gonna say maybe 10 minutes of moving into the space. This does not have to be perfect. It's absolutely okay if there's still some corners sitting somewhere. But we want to kind of feel into it and see what if we let this go. Really just inviting the question, what if I let this go? What if I stopped holding on? What if my circumstances changed? You know, sometimes, especially if there's like outer circumstances, we can't even imagine what it would be like if this wasn't there. And I invite us to do that, you know, to imagine what if it was different and to feel the sensation this produces in your body, the emotion that you may feel with it. And then you can focus on that rather than trying to figure out how to do the actual change. We can focus on the change, the inner change, and that can, of course, support outer change. And I'm not promising anyone that magically all your circumstances are going to change, but this is an invitation to feel into it and to shift your focus away and away from the problem and towards what it would feel like if you didn't hold on to this, if you weren't stuck in this. And so I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes to allow everyone to be with their own process. I invite you to really pay attention to any thoughts, especially negative thoughts, especially nagging thoughts. Really paying attention to what's happening inside of you. Pay attention to your emotions, pay attention to your body. And just allow this to be a meditation, really. And a quick reminder to breathe. And paying attention if you're holding your breath, just exhaling, inhaling, loosening up again. You're always invited to use your voice. If there's anything that feels like it needs a deeper release. Just another reminder to breathe. So I'm going to give it maybe another 2 minutes. And as I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. If it's not all perfectly round, that's okay. See where you feel most drawn to. Where does your energy flow easier? Where is it more difficult? And just paying attention to anything that this can show you right now. Every little piece of what is happening in this drawing process can, of course, be information for you, can help you hopefully see some of your patterns of how you might deal with the things. And this can then inform your decisions of what you really want to focus on, what you really want to change and work on, maybe. And whenever we go into setting intentions. And checking in with your body, with your emotions. Do you feel different already? Maybe about all the things? Is there something that already kind of feels lighter, maybe? Or are you aware of anything where you really feel like, oh, there needs to be a change there? Whatever comes up for you, just being with that, acknowledging that, paying attention to that. This is the gold. This is the information that we want. This is what can really help us evolve. Maybe also round the boxes. Yes, you can absolutely round the boxes. I'm sorry. Look at this now. I hope you just did it. Yeah, you can round the boxes. So if there are like the corners, I kind of, when I work with boxes, I like to leave some corners because it's nice to see the structure. Because this is, of course, a reminder of what these stand for and the energy that they hold. They are not flowy, they are kind of boxy. But yeah, of course, like if you feel like you want to soften edges anywhere, you're always invited to trust your intuition with that, even if it's something that I don't say, just as a general rule. Okay, so now we're going to pause for a moment. And as I said, you kind of feel into, okay, is there already maybe more space? What does it feel like to work with those things, to change them in whichever way was possible for you right now? How do you feel when you see it, even like as this connected thing, like first as the wall and now as something different that is waiting to move? I feel like, oh, now they're all like, oh, have like this energy in there. So we're going to continue with the energy. Now, very unusual, but we're going to do it. We're going to go into another moment of journaling because we have, or actually now is the moment of the new moon. Perfect. I think like literally in one moment, in 1 minute. So perfect moment. Okay. I'm having a good timing today. Okay. So now with Capricorn, there are certain things that we can look at. Many people treat it as a very like kind of career and work related sign. I like to, yeah, really kind of look at it as a sign that invites us into thinking bigger in terms of what are you here to bring into the world. Uh, Capricorn is the sign of legacy. And that for me has been like a really like journey to even wrap my mind around it in a way. You know, what does legacy mean for you? For me, maybe you have a very clear understanding what it means for you. But this is kind of like the next part that I want to explore. And we're going to do this another 5 minutes journaling. So I'm going to set up my timer again. I'm going to post my questions into the chat box. So the questions are, what are you here to build or contribute to the world in a bigger picture view? And you can literally, you know, kind of see, okay, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What is, you know, the thing that you really want to like kind of bring into the world? And then what do you want to be known and remembered for? So these are, of course, very quick questions. And, you know, I invite us to just see whatever comes up. Again, you can, you know, do this in any style that feels good for you. Maybe it's keywords, maybe it's sentences, maybe it's whatever else it could be. I don't know. So we're going to start 5 minutes from now. so you can just finish your thought. That was an interesting one. Okay, and now we're going to start putting it all together and bringing the bigger vision into this. So I hope that that makes sense. We're going to go back to the same drawing. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Here. Okay, so before we start again, I want to invite us to just feel into it for a moment. We've done that before, changing the camera, but that's okay. If it feels good, you can close your eyes again and maybe place a hand on your heart or on your belly or anywhere in your body. Feeling your feet on the ground again. And kind of see, did anything shift in your body as you focused on this vision, this contribution that you bring, your unique contribution that only you can bring into this world. And really kind of feeling into that, into this, I feel it like a truth that your unique contribution is needed in the world. You are here for a reason, and there's something that only you can bring, and it is necessary and important, and you are worth it. And just breathing with that for a moment, really allowing this to land in your heart, allowing this vision to be bigger. Capricorn invites us into a space that is a little bit out of our comfort zone. And I hope that you feel that. I hope that you feel something that feels big, but that would be so great. And that, vision hopefully pulls your energy to where you really want to take steps towards it. And I invite you to drop in for a moment and imagine. Imagine yourself in a place in nature. We're going to go on a little visual journey. Place in nature where you feel just beautiful, where you feel like, wow, this is like a magical place almost. And just see whatever there is. Maybe it's a meadow, maybe there's trees, maybe there's grass, maybe it's the beach. Whatever it is for you, just feeling yourself in a beautiful place where you feel welcome, where you feel safe, where the sun is shining. And then imagine that there's a pathway opening in front of you. And it is a good path. It's not a tiny trail. No, it's a good path. It's a path that somebody else already cleaned it up. The scrub is removed. The big rocks are out of your way. You can just walk this path. And invite you to imagine that you start walking. And you can even push your legs into the ground, push your feet into the ground as if you were walking, and imagine that you are walking this path towards your personal contribution, towards your legacy, towards whatever it is that you are bringing into this world. You are walking it. And it is not as hard as you may have imagined. No, the path is opening, it's clearing, it is a beautiful path. And it may, of course, go up and down and around and have its twists and turns, but it is your path. And so just feeling into the sensation of moving towards something. And you don't have to know what's there. You don't have to know what is the destination. This is all about starting the move, starting to walk, starting to really take action, to make the plan, to see the next best step. That's all we need to know. So taking a deep breath there, wherever you are on your path right now, it really doesn't matter. You are on the path. And breathing that into your body, feeling the sensation of it, feeling all the emotions that are coming up with it right now, making space for it, and making space for all the parts of you, taking all the parts of you with you. Maybe that inner part that is still afraid, maybe the inner child, maybe the part of you that got hurt before, maybe the part of you that was not seen, taking them all with you onto this part and onto this path. And breathing another deep breath there into your wholeness. You are exactly where you need to be. And just bringing a smile to your face with that. You are exactly where you need to be. And all you need to know is the next best step. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. And I invite you to just breathe that out and start moving your body a little bit. Maybe you want to shake your hands or stretch or do whatever feels good in your body as you very gently wake yourself back up. And with that, we're going to move it now. So now we're going to, for a moment, jump to the other edge of the drawing. But leave the center free for now. We're going to go onto the other edge. So as I said, we're experimenting today. I hope that, this lands for you. And we're going to put a few circles there. The circles can go out of the picture. I'm just going to tell that right away. So if you have big visions and this picture is way too small for them, no problem. You can, as I said, we don't even need to know it all. We don't even need to see it all yet. It can still be there. It can still live in the picture. So some of the pieces that may have come up in your writing or something that you really feel like, okay, this is my legacy. This is what I really want to bring into this world, whatever it looks like right now, bringing a few circles onto the edge. And you can, kind of think of the second third or the last third, more or less. And it can just take as much space as it needs to. So we're going to do these as circles. And, as I said, they can go out of there. They can be big and small. They can overlap. Maybe some of them are actually automatically spiraling a little bit. For anyone who's working with the spirals, we can, of course, also do that. Yeah, for me, it's funny how sometimes that just happens. That's fine. So we're just going to spend a few minutes with that. And you can feel into if they already have names. They don't have to have names, but they can. And they can be bigger than we imagined. And it is actually good if it a little bit activates your body. If you feel like this, oh, yeah, that's where we want to go. Allowing bigger visions to come. Allowing yourself to step a little bit beyond your comfort zone, a little bit beyond the usual, I'm just gonna focus on this little plan that I want. Like maybe I want a new car. No. We want like the big thing, the big contribution. So we're just gonna maybe spend another 2 minutes so you can actually listen to yourself, feel whatever comes up with it. And when you name it, it doesn't have to be super specific. Some of mine is community and collaboration. So it's not like, very exact, but there's like these things. Oh, nice. Sabine said I did love Pippi. Exactly. Pippi. Oh, everybody remember Pippi. Just make it big. Make it to words like bigger than you thought. And then feel into it. And feel, okay, what does that do? If I make it, oof. This was like a, and really, kind of feeling into each one of them as well. They might feel different. There might be some that aren't like, yay, really kind of the feel good things. And there might be some that are really edgy. And this is where we want to go. No, this is what we want to see. Okay, so now we have this part. Now, of course, the middle part. The middle part is now the actual important part of today. And this is where I want to bring in again Capricorn. Tum 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 tum. Spiral versus circle. Spirals is just for the people that have worked with spirals before. I'm not going to go into spirals right now. This is just because I had a spiral show up here. I have a full course about spirals if you want to learn about it. So if you don't, if it happens, just let it be and kind of feel into what it feels like for you. If you want to know more about spirals, as I said, there's a full I think it's like 6 hour course about spirals. So I'm not gonna even try to go into that right now. Okay. Now the question that we can answer, and this is actually something that I want to invite you into later to journal about more. But here is a gap. No, a gap of okay, I need to get through my stuff, through kind of my little boundaries, through the things that I'm setting up that stop me right now. And I want to move towards here. Now, with Capricorn, that we are invited into right now is really step into our authority, into the responsibility of I am taking responsibility of my own path. So here we are going to do triangles, term, and we're just going to do them right now spontaneously. And these triangles can stand for the structures, the commitments, the things that you want to bring discipline into, the things that are this next best step. So, and we're going to start at more or less where we ended off with these lines that we started washing out the stuff that needs to go, I'm going to say. And we're just going to go into a few triangles here. And the triangles obviously move like point this way because we want to go this way. So we're going to give our brain a clear direction. This is where I want to go. This is how I want to move. And then thinking about what is it? What is this discipline that I need to kind of step into? What do I need to take responsibility for? What am I committing to that takes me towards my dreams, towards my goals, towards my legacy? I hope that makes sense. So we're going to spend like maybe 5 minutes with just these triangles and just setting them up and just feeling into what is there. Spontaneously, I intentionally didn't have us think about it a lot because I feel that sometimes it's actually good to think about it on the fly and really allowing your mind to intuitively know. You know already what you need to focus on. So allow yourself to step into that. Okay, so 5 minutes and really again staying with yourself and your own journey and your own story. How can you show up for this? Hmm. And you don't need infinite amount, of course. And it's really, really nice if they feel attainable. And we don't want to have something there that feels like, oh, okay, I'm never going to get there. Because this is, of course, setting us up for not success, which is not what we want to do. Now, of course, we're going to do lines. And the lines are moving in the direction of the triangles. And we're going to start where we left off with those that we washed away first. So now, this energy is kind of floated away and there is space, there is energy, there is, yeah, kind of the no, I don't have another word for it, the energy to move the other direction now. So the energy to move towards where we want to go. So again, kind of again setting yourself a moment where you just breathe and where you imagine that there's a flow coming through your head into your heart, out of your hands. And then you can imagine that your whole body is moving in that direction. No, really kind of allow the whole body. You can even, I can't really do this in my picture, but you can even turn the picture and have this motion from yourself into the space. Maybe I actually do that still. I think it's actually possible. I'm totally going to do that. So I invite us all to moving the picture to where we are now moving in this direction and allow yourself to move it really. Allow yourself to go with the flow, to feel the wave. And with these, you can even go over lines several times. And you can see, do they want to split? So we can create more lines than just the ones that we start with. And we're still going to start with kind of attaching somewhere, but then here my line can split. So something like that's also possible. Ah, and really feeling them moving. And of course, these pathways are never straight, just like life is never straight. It will be in your personal flow. Just imagine that you are growing as well, no? As we're moving up, we're growing with everything, every step that we take. We are moving ahead, we're growing and feeling into the sensation of that. Allowing them to go wherever they want to go. And we'll just give that another 2 minutes maybe. Just drawing lines, enjoying the moving. Well, now we're finally moving. Now we're not just thinking about it and journaling and doing all the mental work. Now we're actually moving the energy. Breathing with it. Wow. You can, of course, kind of take your time with this. But I feel it's really nice to give it like this kind of dynamic move. So for me, the lines definitely move a little bit faster than I would usually do it. And interestingly, my pen is keeping up a little bit, which that's interesting. Tells me something there. And now allowing it to settle again. No, taking a breather. And now we're going to go again into um, rounding. No, same thing like we did with the squares or with the rectangles. Now we're going to connect everything and really feel into this flow and feel into the different pieces. With this, now, of course, we have even more lines. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just go wherever you feel drawn, and allow yourself to connect there, connect to the pieces that really kind of, I'm going to go in here first because this is like really calling me. So yeah, feeling where it calls you, where the picture calls you. We got a question. Eve missed what was written in the triangles. In the triangles is the things that you commit to, your commitments, your everyday things, your the disciplines that you want to do, the rhythms that you want to start, the structures that you want to build, whatever steps you do. No, those are really the steps. So for me, for example, I have one is staying present with my little baby because I feel that that's something that is always important. So they don't all have to be related to something. They're just like the things that feel important to me. One is going with my own cycle flow, making time for my art, being courageous. It's funny because it's a little triangle. My daily routines. So yeah, whatever it is for you. Now, question bedeutet, the meaning of the rectangle is the blockage and the triangle is the one that moves us, the catalyzer, and the circle is the goal, more or less. Yeah, you can interpret it like that. This is, of course, one way that we're using these elements in this picture. This is not the general way that all circles and all triangles and all squares or rectangles are used. But in this picture, we can understand it like that exactly. The rectangles are kind of like I want to say the card house that needs to fall. This is like what it feels for me. These are the things that I'm kind of trying to keep up or that I feel are holding me, that I just need to find the gumption to throw over. And then the triangles are really what moves the steps that move me towards my dreams, towards the life that I actually want to live. And the circles are the things that, yeah, are like my legacy, the things that I want to bring into the world, my contribution, whatever comes up for you around these pieces. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now we're going to go into the rounding, as I said. We're going to give that at least 10 minutes to kind of just be with the energy of these pieces as well. If you have not worked with triangles before and they feel a little bit much, triangles can do that, then what you can do is actually draw lines out of the points. Triangles can have like this tendency of like the pointy end may feel a little bit like if you kind of feel that in your body, and I really invite you to really, kind of feel into your body with that. If your body feels comfortable and feels invigorated by it, leave the points, because this is the other thing that a triangle can do. It can totally invigorate us. It can really help us be like, yeah, have like this power energy. So if you feel that, totally work with leaving the pointy ends of the triangles. Do not round them. If you feel triggered by them, if you feel that your body is having reactions, if you, for example, have a headache or something like this, round the triangles. Make it as soft as possible. So that just as a way of working with that. But in general, allow yourself to just go wherever your intuition takes you in the picture. This is not about having to round perfectly every single spot. This is about going where your energy takes you and seeing how the things are connected and feeling whatever comes up internally as you are moving through this landscape of the different pieces that we brought into the drawing. And just a reminder for everyone to breathe, to stay with yourself, to stay in your body, allowing any sensations. If there are strong sensations, use your breath, use your voice even, you will hear me exhaling loudly probably at some point as I am kind of meeting these pieces. But we want to stay present with whatever's happening inside, stay present with any stories as well. Again, especially if there are negative voices, nagging or something like this, stay present with that because those are the patterns that show up that may just try to keep you safe, that may just try to prevent you from going into dangerous places. And then kind of feel into, do you still want to go there? Do you have the courage? And always asking what can help me. And you can, of course, add things, You can also add circles down in here. Maybe I should add that right now. So if you feel like, not everything needs to be a triangle, you can add little pieces here, and those could be supports. For example, here for me, there may be something that I need because I have this courage triangle here and the kind of like things. So I may add a circle here, and then I can ask myself, what is it that will support me in order to actually go through with this commitment? So this can be a thing as well. And for me, it's like super clear as well. So yeah, this is an optional add-on. You don't have to do that. But if you feel like, oh no, I have like these commitments or these kind of ideas of what I want to commit to, and it feels big and like I have inner sensations that are telling me that there's something working inside myself. The question, what do I need, is always there to soften that. And really listen because you already know. Listen and trust that your intuition will tell you what you actually need to do. For me, for example, it's like my scheduling thing, scheduling time for my art, for example, will help me to commit to to keep the commitment to my art. So that's the idea there. So I hope that makes sense. And now I'm gonna be quiet for another, let's see, I think we're gonna do another 10 minutes because this may take a little while if you have just as many lines as me. We don't want to stress you, we don't want to rush it. We want to feel it all and really connect to the pieces. I'm gonna have to add one more thing. If you feel like you want to change an element, like I have this little triangle here that says courage, and when I go into it, I feel like, no, this has to be like 10 times bigger. You can also change the size of an element or change what it looks like. So you can adjust the things in this process. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this bigger and allow this to be a big thing. And of course, then feel into what that feels like right now. That feels better to me. That feels like more aligned and interesting. Yet now it goes into this kind of spiral circle. So, yay. So that just as a permission to trust, if your intuition tells you something needs to be done in your drawing, trust that. And just another little reminder to breathe and to feel it all, to make space for it. Mhm. You may notice that there are parts that really require a lot of attention and work. And I invite you to just pay attention to that, because those, well, of course, the places where we may want to pay more attention in actual life as well. In actual real life, those places may also need a little bit more care, a little bit more attention, a little bit more space and time to evolve. And then again, it can be the question like, how am I going to make this happen? Well, what is the structure I can create? What is the routine that I need? What is the commitment that I need to make? To translate that into everyday life. Yeah, for me, there's like something here, and it's interesting because it has to do with my daily routine. So something that I have been focusing on more and more in the last month, and now the picture shows me like, yeah, that's good, and we're gonna have to focus on that even more. The focus needs to stay there. We'll give it a few more minutes. And you can, of course, go back to this if you feel like it's not complete. You can take as much time as you need. Maybe do like 2 or 3 more minutes. I have to check. Nice. Rama said support circles was a good call. I found I needed to add more fun to make it feel less heavy to make change. Yeah, that's a good one. Nice. Natasha says I already feel lighter and clearer about where I want to put my time and energy going forward. Yay. That makes me so happy to hear. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, this is really what this is about. And of course, we have all these things that we may, have brought into the drawing, but now as we are in this meditative process of just exploring it, there, as I said, might be areas that just call a lot more your attention. Where you feel like, oh, I'm like drawing in this one area for 5 minutes, then yes, this is an important area. And you can just reflect on, does this area of my life maybe just need more time and space and awareness and care and I don't know, whatever else in real life. The picture can always reflect that to us. It can show us the places where things need to happen outside of our ideas. I hope that that makes sense. And yeah, we're just going to take another breather, do a little bit more, and then go into color. If you're already ready for color, you can, of course, jump into that. But I feel I need a little bit more here. Mm. Funny because I'm rushing myself, and this is something that I really want to stop. So we're going to slow down and give this a few more minutes. If you need it as well, then perfect. If you don't, then throw some color on it, also fine. But I'm going to take another minute here. Do not rush, especially in this area where I'm right now. I don't want to rush at all. I want to be very careful. So it's like the perfect reminder here. Hmm. And of course, at some point, it's really nice to also allow us to leave it to where it doesn't have to be perfect. I am at that exact point right now. Like reminding me, or like it kind of looks scruffy in certain places, and I'm catching my inner perfectionist here. So this can actually be such a healing moment to be like, okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So we're gonna go with it as it is. And as I said, I want to invite us to move into color. With the color, of course, we want to move through the entire picture. And we can now really find a flow in there too. I'm going to move my picture back around so that you can see the whole thing. You can move however you want to, whatever direction. Okay, and there's a question about my stabilo. This is an 8896, I think. It's the very, very fine point one. Yeah, fine 0.4 or 0.88. So it's 88 and it says 0.4. I have the 68s too. I like those too. But yeah, the very fine one and these too sometimes. Oh, so let's do color. Oh, interesting. I only have a very limited color palette now because my little thing with the colors is in the other room. That's an interesting one. Okay, with color, I invite us into really, connecting with the intuitive space. Color is a place where we can allow our inner child to play, allow a flow, allow a connection to kind of these subconscious layers. I like to just grab a color, whichever color it is. Interestingly, it's passion fruit red. And I feel like there's like passion in this picture for me, like already when I was drawing. So now I feel like, okay, where does this passion fruit red want to go? Where is the passion in this picture? And I'm going to go somewhere here and just start. I just start somewhere where I feel it. We can, of course, pay attention to the circles and triangles and all of that, but we can also go just into the flow. So here I want to say, we're not really making rules. We can make opportunities and ideas of how to work with this, but you can just allow the color to move. For me, color is another kind of like the sensation of the energy flowing. So really allow the color energy to flow through the drawing wherever it wants to flow, wherever it wants to go. Maybe, there are pieces where a rectangle or a triangle or a circle wants to come out of the picture as the actual shape. Maybe there's like this flow, like for me, right now I'm just going to go with this flow here and it's going through some of the other elements. And what this does is it is, of course, breaking them up. It is taking away their actual shape, which is really, really interesting because this is kind of like a thing that Capricorn may or may not love because it's, of course, kind of dissolving the structure. So feeling into that, what does that feel like if now that I have all these ideas and I, can put all these elements into the drawing, if now I just go over them with a flow of energy, and this flow of energy can connect pieces together. No, for me, it can like connect like these rectangles that are down here to these this circle and this triangle that's here, and it's probably going to move into one of my circles. So I am allowing this to be just a flow of energy. And I will see maybe one or two triangles want to come out as the actual structural triangle. I'm not going to decide about that right now. I'm just going to see if my intuition tells me to do that or not. So here it's really, again, about trusting and listening to your intuition. Where does it want to go? How does it feel? How does the color feel in your body? What emotions come up when you do that? When you do like this kind of flow instead of the structure, or when you focus on the structure, whatever, kind of you're deciding to do or you're feeling to do. Well, yeah, for me, it's like definitely with this one, with the passion for bread, I want to flow. And of course, what it invites us into is going over lines. So I am, of course, kind of adapting to and paying attention to the things that I see in the drawing. I also can pay attention to any shapes that show up. Even like this flow now can turn into a certain shape. So I pay attention to that, but I'm not getting stuck in it. And I just see wherever it wants to go, whatever else it wants to touch. Here, the energy is much lighter, the same color, but I use it in a different way. So, yeah, just finding your flow with it. And we're just going to do this for, I want to say maybe 5 minutes more. You can, of course, use a lot of time for this. Color is nice to spend some time with it. Now we're actually already kind of 15 minutes from the edge here, from the end. So I'm not going to stretch it. Just going to feel into what's possible right now. And again, just a reminder to breathe, to be with whatever this picture, whatever this process brings up inside of you. And maybe one more comment on if you choose to, for example, now I have this one circle that I quote unquote colored. Now I can ask myself, if the color was moving out of the circle, where would it go? So whenever I work with an element where I can literally color the element, I always invite the energy to move. Sometimes it doesn't want to move, sometimes it wants to be just in this one element, but usually the color will move somewhere if I invite it to go somewhere. So I'm, just gonna see, okay, maybe it wants to move here. And then what does that feel like? Where is it going? And how is it acting in these places? Mm. Okay, so as I said, we'll do 5 minutes, and then you can, kind of extend that for as long as you feel like. I sometimes go back into the color. This is probably something that I will do after this session. And now what we can really see with the color is often that pieces are connected that we didn't really see in the beginning. Well, now if I follow my color flows, they take me to different pieces of the drawing, and sometimes it's really funny to see how much sense it makes that they're connected. So I invite you to, after, whenever you have time, just sit with your drawing and kind of pay attention to these little things and see if anything comes up for you. Or if there's anything where you're like, oh, wow, look at this. These are actually connected. Oh, who would have thought? But we're gonna leave this for later. Now we're just gonna do another minute maybe. And as I said, I will most definitely go back into the color. And of course, the reminder that I forgot now, it's always a reminder that area can stay white as well. So it's not about coloring everything. You don't have to color everything. Okay, well, interesting one so far. For me, there's a few things that really kind of stand out. And so I can, of course, look at them. And then there's a few things that are just in the flow, which is also really interesting because I thought I was totally going to emphasize this triangle here, but now it's almost disappeared in the flow. So that tells me that my subconscious thinks otherwise and actually knows that other pieces are much more important. So that's an interesting one always to look at. Okay, so now, of course, we want to have the flow that really connects everything together. I'm going to use a little bit of a thicker pen. I'm actually going to use the 68, the next size to below. You can just go over this line that we're drawing now several times. Now, I want to invite you to kind of sit with all the sensations, all the feelings, everything that came out so far in this drawing, and take a deep breath with it. And then ask yourself, what is the kind of quality of energy that I need to break through my boundaries, take on these responsibilities and these disciplines and these commitments, and really move towards my goals and dreams and whatever, legacy I want to leave behind. You don't have to name it, but maybe something comes up. But really just feeling into that. This is where we're going now. This is what we want to kind of bring into the picture now. This kind of flow that takes us from where we are right now, maybe still stuck in some pieces, maybe there's still something to work through, but we already have a vision and we already have some pieces that we can look at and that we can move into, and we have some things that may support us. So I'm going to start wherever I feel drawn. For me, it's kind of like here somewhere. And then just trust the flow again. And if it feels good, you can again kind of turn it around and do this thing again where you just move with the flow. I'm going to do that because it just feels much, much better to draw it like this. And again, imagining that there is an energy moving into your head, through your heart, and out of your hands, and you're just moving with it. You don't have to control it. You don't have to know where exactly it's going. You just follow it through the picture and trust that it is going wherever it needs to go. And then what I like to do is I bring it back to me. So first I move it away from me in this kind of flow, and then I bring it back. So I go over the same pathway again, bringing it back to me, reminding me that I am kind of the creator. I am the one that taps into this flow. And I do this a few times, moving back and forth and back and forth, up and down, or sideways, however it works for you. and breathing with it, feeling into it. But this one is nice to slow down a little bit too and really imagine this energy flowing. It's flowing through you into the world, and there's also flow back into you. There's an exchange, there is a communication of you with higher power, with the world at large, with whatever comes up for you, and just listening to the line and see what it holds for you. Mm. And you can do several of those. I may do another one. Let's see. I think there might be just one more that kind of moves here somehow. So this can of course also happen. They can split somewhere. If they do, that's always like an interesting area that you can. There's the invitation to look into that to see where does it split, if it does it. For me, it's like in a really good place. And then what we can do, or what we do next, is we go along these lines and we round them again. I'm going to do this just quickly right now and go back into that later because we're already at 3 o'clock, so I'm not going to stretch it a whole lot longer. But what I would do now is I would go and make sure that this line is very well connected to everything else so that the energy can flow into the entire picture, so that we really have this imagery of it being integrated and connected. And of course, while I do that, I can again listen to the line. So I said I'm going to just do this for a moment, so I will go back into that later. But I will check in what are the important places. Maybe there's elements that the line touches, that it flows through. I just want to listen in again. Ah. Maybe there's moments where you need to breathe deeply. And then whenever you have done that, or whenever you feel like you have a moment to check in with your picture, you can see what is the element that sticks out to you as an important element. For me, I feel very drawn to this circle now where my line splits, because to me, in my understanding of the energy, this is an important place. It's also interesting because then the line goes into two different spaces here, and I can of course kind of connect to that and see, okay, what are the pieces there? But I'm going to concentrate my energy here, and I do that by creating a thicker outline, by making it to where this little circle, and it's funny because it's literally just like this little circle that I added later, it now really sticks out. It is now the main message of my picture, which is really interesting because it is a circle that tells me to care, put like care into things, care about myself, approach things with like this energy of care, which is for me an energy of slowing down as well, which is interesting. Like when I move into this now and kind of connect to it, I feel a yes. It was definitely like the right element. And I feel like, yeah, this is where it starts. This is where I need to start this process for me of moving towards this bigger picture view and legacy and all of these things. It starts in a very humble place in a way for me. And that's, yeah, kind of beautiful to feel into. So feeling into the space where you feel the energy. Now, if there are several places and you cannot decide, then I invite you to trust the picture. What I like to do is close your eyes and then open your eyes and see what is the element that sticks out. There can be more, like for example, here, this orange triangle is always going to be strong, and it's totally important that it is strong. But what I really need to focus on when I move up here is this right now. And as a final word to it, this, of course, is not the final solution. It's just one step on the way. It is for me like where I need to start right now. And I feel like this is really all we need right now. As I said, the next best step, the next best little thing that um, you want to feel into. So I hope that that resonates. Okay, I'm gonna just come back into the video for a moment and read some of the comments. Thank you everyone for commenting as well. I appreciate that. Oh, here. Christine says, I'm using red for laughter because humor in my process and daily life is very important part of living for me. I love that. Yeah, red for laughter is great. There are color strands from starting point to end point, and the space between them is how I'm currently meeting a need and how I truly want to be fulfilled in the purest intention. This is so cool. Wow. How interesting. I love that. Ah, interesting to see all the things that come out. Thank you for commenting, guys. I had an important insight. I'm very clear about my inner walls and also about my purpose. Yeah, but now I realize I can focus on the arrows, what I can do to travel from the wall towards the purpose. Exactly. Thank you for reflecting that back to me because that was my intention with this whole process today. um, Karma says I ended up with an element connecting two things that feel important. Exactly. Like if you feel that there are two elements, see if there is an element in between that already connects them, or you can create one. So, if I say, okay, there's this one circle here that feels really important, and then there's this one other thing here, then how can you connect them? Could also be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a circle or a square or a triangle. It can be another shape that connects them. So yeah, good point. Thank you. This is a wonderful meditative process, and I like that what I created. Wonderful. I can learn from it. Thank you, Christine. Beautiful wisdom. Yes. Ellen says, I also have a question. There are some very important areas in my life that have no color. What does that mean? So what it can mean, I'm going to say, of course, it's always for you to interpret. The way I interpret spaces with no color is that it is still open. When we look at color as an energy element, color defines a space. No, I say, okay, this area is now red, which gives it a certain feeling. No, as I said, when I grabbed my red, I was like, ooh, I had this kind of like passionate energy inside myself. So this is how I define then the space where the color goes. This gets this energy. Now, when you have open spaces, it may either tell you that there is just openness there, which I feel like is an invitation to step into the openness and to be with the openness, to be with the sensation of it's not quite there yet. It doesn't maybe exist yet. It's not defined yet. And it can, of course, be an invitation to ask yourself, how do I want it? When you have like these open, okay, what energy would I want there? What will be the color that I would want to put there? And as I said, it's actually really nice to have open spaces in a drawing because it creates space and it helps us see where we have clarity already and where there is this potential and this openness and where we may want to actually continue working. So if you feel like quote unquote uncomfortable with the openness, then this may be something for you to look into. No? So yeah, that would be my interpretation. I hope that helps. Nice. I see you nodding. Thank you. Okay, good. Okay, let me see. Oh, so many more comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the process of being able to focus on the one thing that I need to get going. Yes, exactly, right? Like, I mean, oftentimes it is the one thing. It is just the one next step, and then we go the next step, so we don't have to have the entire picture pictured out and the whole plan planned. Even though I like to plan. Um, Aparajita. Oh, what a beautiful name. Cute. She says, thank you for this amazing process. This is so creative and meaningful. I'm so glad that it's landing. Beautiful. Roanne says, even before the color, I noticed the alignment of elements in my drawing. I didn't mean for them to align that way, but they did. This is the power of it. Absolutely. Right. And the drawing just reminds you of what's already there. Or it just shows you what's already there. Denise says, I had kindness as something I wanted to be known for. And interestingly, that became my focus to start with kindness to myself. That is such a, thank you for saying that. I almost want to cry. This is beautiful. Kindness to yourself. Yes. Right. This is where it starts, like with yourself. Beautiful. Thank you, Antje. Beautiful flow and insight. So happy that it's landing. Thank you so very much for the beautiful session. Yay. Mm. Okay, I'm just going to skip through the comments because I can't even talk anymore. I'm going to look if there's another question. And it says there's two words in the element that sticks out. Oh, interesting too, right? Two words. They have, and there were even no links going through the message. I is very clear, and the step after that was at this moment not clear. Ah, so interesting. Wow. Yeah, I love how it brings clarity. Nice. I really love the three sections. Thank you. Yay. Like as I said, it's a little bit experimental today. Um, but yeah, I'm glad that it landed. Ah, nice, great and useful session. Yay. Okay. Ah, beautiful. So I'm gonna send a message to everyone after that. I'm actually gonna put a few of my courses on sale that I feel are in line to this. So if you want to go deeper, there's always the possibility to go deeper. And I have been, or I am right now, changing some of the structure of my work or of my how I'm doing the offerings. So I'm going to not talk about this right now because I can't speak anymore. Write everyone a message. If you want to know more, you can always go to my website and you can write me messages and all of that. Thank you so much for all the messages. I'm sorry for not reading everything out loud, but I literally can't talk anymore. I'm so happy that this is landing with everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, so this was good. Now I wanted to add one more journaling prompt for everyone, just for the heck of it, because that is like just a little bit more of a see, yeah, my words are all gone. Of a deepening into it if you feel like it. So here would be now what are the structures? Oh, there's a typo in it. What are the structures, rhythms, and commitments that will support your long-term visions? No, like you can sit down and journal on that again. And also maybe what are disciplines that take you forward and nourish you? I'm going to actually type that in as well because I have that sitting here. What disciplines or structures pay you forward in a nourishing way? I'm going to say. Because I feel that that's something that is really nice to look at in this way. Because sometimes we have in the world at large a little bit of a distorted way of working with Capricorn energy and of seeing Capricorn energy as this whole like hardcore moving forward and like making it hard. And it doesn't have to be that. No, we can find ways of also making it nourishing and also making it sustainable. in a nourishing and sustainable way. I'm going to say and sustainable way, and I'm going to write that in. So now I'm totally putting typos in my writing here. I'm going to put this into the email as well to everyone. So if you feel like, you want to sit down and journal a little bit more, those are your questions. So thank you everyone for being here. This was amazing. I'm so glad that we did this. And I hope that, it's supporting everyone in moving forward in your own pace, in your own way, without being stressed by what the world around you tells you. But you got your answers, you know your next best step, and that's all you need to know. Okay, big kisses to everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm gonna turn up this recording.